Welcome to Nugget 34 with Steve Grohman. Well, today we're going to start out with reading a little excerpt from an article. It's from Smithsonian.com, and it's an article that was written in December of 2010. About 375 million years ago, the first tetrapods, vertebrates with arms and legs, pushed themselves out of the swamps and began to live on land. This major evolutionary transition set the stage for all subsequent groups of land-dwelling vertebrates, including a diverse lineage called synapsids, which originated about 306 million years ago. Though these creatures, such as Dimetrodon, look like reptiles, they were actually the archaic precursors of mammals. Okay, 375 million years ago, 306 million years ago. Does that qualify as science?
Absolutely not. And not only that, that's quite the fairy tale, that's quite the fancy tale, that's quite the science fiction, that's quite the belief system, but it's not science. It certainly does not qualify as science. But that's the way they do. They have to come up with all kinds of scenarios that are just illogical, but they say it so factual that people tend to believe it must be true. But again, there's no evidence for any of that. There's no way to test that. There's no ways to repeat the test to qualify it as science. It is purely a belief.
As I'm reading a little bit more on this article, they're talking about how this gentleman, Richard Harlan, he was inspecting some vertebrate and other fragments found in Alabama, and he thought that the bones were most similar to those of extinct marine reptiles, and he tentatively assigned in the name Basilosaurus. I know that this Basilosaurus, or however you say this, has been a topic in creation circles for quite a while.
One of the things with fossils, they call them transitions like that and to some degree, but they're really not transitional fossils at all. The thing of it is, a lot of times a fragment of a bone, fragment of a skeleton is found, or a handful of bones or whatever, and they come up with some story. The biggest thing about the whale, it's a mammal. They say all life started in the water and climbed out onto land, so it had to go back into the water somehow as a mammal in order for it to transition to something else. So you had to have some kind of marine life, then some kind of reptilian creatures, and some kind of mammals, and then back to the water to become a water-dwelling mammal. One of the biggest things that they like to put in the textbooks for our children is they say the hip bone is not a structure that any water-type animals use. That's not necessarily true. If you think about a fish, most fish, they swim. When they're swimming, their tail fin is going side to side. That's how they swim. But a whale and a dolphin and some other, they go up and down. They have to have a different attachment point for the structures of the muscular system to attach itself to be able to do that. It doesn't mean it used to be something else or it came from something else. I kind of think it's God have quite the personality and the sense of humor, maybe is a better way to say it. And he throws this stuff in there just because he knows these people are going to try to come up with anything other than God. And he throws these things in there as kinks, so they have to come up with some crazy elaborate story to try to make it make sense in their mind.
Well, maybe they actually are using it, and we don't know about it.
Oh, they definitely use it. That's
right.
My point. That's what I'm saying. That's where the muscles attach for the... there's attachment points there regular fish, normal fish don't have. So because it swims in the water, and most fish swim in a side-to-side fashion with their tail fin, that doesn't mean that something can't be in there that doesn't. It's just ridiculous. But they call it a missing link, an intermediate transition. It's just preposterous.
It certainly is.
And also, thing to remember, very, very important, is God said he made the great whales, and they reproduce after their kind. So this is not some transition from some Dimetrodon or anything else previous. It is something that God made, and it reproduces after its own. Interesting story. Every time a whale has a baby, guess what it is?
Baby whale.
Absolutely.
And I think that you just hit on something. Because the Lord does say that specifically, that animal specifically, that is definitely why the evolutionists are targeting that animal.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, pay attention to those things, folks. Keep watching our nuggets. And while you're at it, tell 10,000 of your closest friends about our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and tell others about our YouTube channel. Thank you.